Hey guys, this is Mara the Reading Hedgehog with my February reading wrap up. I read a total of 7 books this month, but I made progress in 5. Not very impressive for me, but I'm not going to beat myself up about it. It was a busy month. The months are going to get busier, and I read a lot of good books. So, the books I finished, the first one was Why We Broke Up by Daniel Handler. I gave this 2 out of 5 strawberries. I thought it was okay, but essentially, this book is about a girl who is returning all the things to her ex-boyfriend, and during their dating process, and while she's returning them, she is writing a letter about why each of the things represents all these reasons that they broke up. So it reads like a letter. Um, I liked the premise. I really liked the narration style. I'm a sucker for unique narration, and I really love this because it reads like a letter, and it's got like pictures throughout it of all the little things that she's returning to him. I really liked a couple of the characters, but I did not feel too sorry for the main character, Minerva, because a lot of the mistakes she made, they were like, no, duh, of course you don't do that. So her heartbreak and all that was kind of her own fault because she was making very stupid decisions. And yes, people make stupid decisions. It happens. It's realistic. But I did not feel sorry for her as much as I wanted to because it was like, this is a no-brainer. Don't do it. But she did it anyway, so 2 out of 5 strawberries. I had a hard time sympathizing with her. I did really like her friend, though. Al. He was cool. After that, I read Thursdays with the Crown by Jessica Day George. This is the 3rd and final book in the Castle Glower trilogy. It is the final one. I gave this 4 out of 5 strawberries, I think it was. I really liked it. This picked up where the second one left off with Celia and her, mind blank today, I'm so tired. Her siblings and their friends are catapulted with the castle to where the castle originated. And they are trying to find the missing piece of the heart of the castle so they can restore the castle and return to their kingdom. And along the way, they meet 2 wizards who both claim to be builders of the castle, and they don't know who to trust, and it was just really fun. Loved the characters, loved the backstory we got about the castle, and it was just really fun. A great way to wrap up the series, but I'm very sad it's over. I liked it. After that, I wasted no time in reading Fairest by Marissa Meyer. This is the prequel novel for the Lunar Chronicles. This tells Queen Levana's story about how she became the way she is. I gave this, I'm pretty sure it was 4 out of 5. It might have been 5 out of 5, but I want to say it was 4 out of 5. This was great. I was a little worried because I was worried that I would end up feeling really bad for her, and I didn't really want to, kind of. But this book totally, absolutely solidified her as a very terrifying villain. Before, I kind of thought she was an okay villain. She didn't really terrify me because she never fulfilled any of her threats. She was full of hot air, but she never did anything. This changed my opinion totally. I did feel a little sorry for her because you can understand how she becomes the way she is, how messed up she is, especially considering what her sister Channery does to her and stuff. It makes absolute sense. But she is so her insanity is so terrifying in this. I mean, she thinks that everything she does is destiny, that it's meant to happen. No matter how horrible it is, it's right because it's destiny. And not once does she question that what she's doing may just not, be too much. If it's destiny, she has to do it. She has to massacre thousands to get what she wants. Well, that's what she's supposed to do. That's what she's meant to do. So this totally solidified her as one of the creepiest villains I've read. So yeah, this was really good. I was impressed. After that, I read The House of the Scorpion by Nancy Farmer. This is the first book in the Mateo Alecran duology. This was the February pick for my Young Adult Bibliobabble book club. And this was never been on my priority list to read, but I'm really glad we did. So I gave it 4 out of 5 strawberries, I think. No, I think I gave it 3. I think I gave it 3 out of 5. And it takes place sometime in the future where the strip of land between Mexico and America has been turned into essentially this drug lord city-state called opium, and the drug lords rule over it, and they have a deal with both Mexico and America that they will not sell opiates in their countries so long as they're allowed to sell opiates to other countries, and they will control the influx of illegal immigrants for both countries. Because America's not really a fun place to be anymore, so you got Americans going to Mexico, Mexicans going to America. And this follows a young boy who is the clone of one of the drug lords. It's not giving anything away, it says in the synopsis. And kind of his upbringing, because he's treated horrible, because clones are supposed to be destroyed, but his isn't because he's a clone of a drug lord that, like, kind of controls everything. And it follows his upbringing and just kind of what happens with him, and, you know, things aren't quite as what they seem. He thinks he's being raised to take over the drug lord's place when he dies, and it's not all that. And if you read enough clone stories or you've watched enough movies, you'll see where it's going. It's pretty classic clone twist. This book surprised me, though, because I actually ended up really caring about the characters and really, really hating the ones you're supposed to hate. I mean, this had some really creepy characters in it. And also, it was a book that made you think, because it addressed a lot of really interesting topics, like, you know, what makes something human, and what has the right to live, and it was, towards the end of it, it was extremely anti-communist. So it was weird as all get out, but it wasn't weird in the way I was expecting, so I did enjoy it. It was really interesting, and I look forward to reading the sequel, The Lord of Opium. This was a surprising read. 3 out of 5, because it was still a little weird. But it was good. After that, I read Seeker by Arwen Elise Dayton. This is the first book in a new fantasy series for YA. I gave this 3 out of 5 strawberries too. So it follows 3 characters, Quinn, John, and Shinobu. And they have been training all their lives to become seekers, whose calling is to right the wrongs of life, essentially. They're kind of avengers, if you will. They take out the bad guys when someone's been wronged. They avenge the weak. But then their initiation comes up, and they discover that the calling of the Seekers is not what they thought it was. And then it jumps ahead, I think, like 6 months. After all these tragic things have happened, Gwen has lost her memory, and they're trying to find her, to get her. It's a little hard to explain because I don't want to give too much away, but I kind of have to explain everything, but I'm not going to. There's a reason the synopsis is really big. I will say this, I really, really, really liked John. He was my favorite character. I am totally on his side. At the same time, he's a little creepy. He's tragic. I liked Quinn and Shinobu. I wasn't crazy about them, but I did like them. They were okay. They worked. And I loved the premise of this. However, there was not nearly enough world-building exploration. Not nearly enough. And the whole, how the Seekers operate, wasn't really explained to my satisfaction. I'm still very confused about exactly what they do. Like how they do it. Are they time travelers? Are they dimension jumpers? Do they freeze time? Do they cut a hole in, like, the space continuum or whatever? I don't know. It's not really explained all that well. And it drags. The parts that drag, she could have used to do world building, but instead she used it on amnesia, which just kind of was pointless and made the story longer. So those are my complaints. It has a lot of potential. It's got a great premise, and I am interested in reading the others, but I wish there had been more world building. After that, I read The Iron Trial by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare, the first book in the Magisterium series. I think I gave this one 3 out of 5 strawberries too. So this follows a boy, Callum, who is magically inclined, and so he is sent to the Iron Trials that test magically inclined kids to see where they can get into Magisterium, which is like this elite wizard school. But his father does not want him to join because, according to him, it's Magisterium's fault that Callum's mother died. Obviously, Callum does end up getting in. That's not a spoiler. I liked it. It was interesting. It's got some great characters. The Magisterium is really cool. It's got a great, background story with the enemy of death and all this. I know this can irritate some people, but it's true. At times, it felt too hard. It felt like it was trying to keep pace with Harry Potter too much. I'm not one of these people that's like, oh, if there's two boys and a girl main character is like Harry Potter. That kind of thing is in all fiction. J.K. Rowling was not original in that. She was not original with the enemy being the ultimate evil sorcerer turned and went crazy. She's not original with a magic school and stuff like that. But this did at times feel like it tried too hard to keep pace with Harry Potter, and you just can't. So there was that. But, in general, it was fun and good, and I liked it for what it was. I look forward to seeing what happens next. Then I read While We Were Watching Downton Abbey by Wendy Wax. This is an adult contemporary, and it's about these 3 women who have not really gotten out of life what they wanted. One is married to a very rich, very nice man, but she thinks that he's only married to her because he wanted to save her family from debt. Another lady has divorced from an unhappy marriage and is now trying to make her way as a writer, and another one has been dumped by her jerk of a husband because she wasn't pretty enough, and now she's trying to raise her 2 kids alone and all that. And then these 3 women end up connecting while watching Downton Abbey. I gave it 3 out of 5 strawberries. It was a very light, fluffy, fun read. I loved the writing style. It was just what I needed when I didn't feel like really thinking. I just wanted a fluff read, and this was perfect. So yeah, that was really fun. My first venture into adult contemporary, and I really liked the characters. And of course, I love Downton Abbey, so it was really kind of fun reading. There were, at times, it felt a little lame, a little forced, but in general, I liked it. It was fun. So those are all the books I completed in February. I made progress in several. I got halfway done with Delirium by Lauren Oliver, the first book of the Delirium trilogy. Really enjoying it, and plan on finishing that in March. I made some progress. I started Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire by J.K. Rowling, the 4th Harry Potter book, and what I'm doing with this is I'm reading a chapter a day, so I can continue making progress with it. Because it's so thick, I don't want to focus only on this book, so I'm reading it slowly but surely, and really enjoying it. I also started Sidney Chambers and the Shadow of Death by James Runcie, the first book of the Grantchester series. I'm doing the same thing with this. I'm reading, a story a day. It's kind of like a collection of short stories that are, kind of intermingled together, but I'm doing that, so making progress in that, really enjoying it. I am more than halfway done with Wolfsblood by Hazel West. I've gone back into reading a chapter a day in this one as well. Very proud of myself. And then finally, I am almost done with Dracula by Bram Stoker. Again, I am reading a chapter a day in this one as well. And finally making progress and really, really, really enjoying it. And I'll also be happy when I'm done with it. So that's all for February, and I will see you with my January, with my March TBR. Bye.